So in this video, I'm going to show you why bumping the hips to start your downswing is a bad and outdated concept that you should absolutely stop doing, and you should replace it with another movement. So the idea for this video came from one of my recent lessons on Skillist, online lessons. So a new student came in with really, from down the line, quite a good looking golf swing. His backswing was absolutely perfect. Wasn't anything wrong one bit. But his downswing was really quite poor. You could see a bunch of things happen. You could see early extension. You could see a lack of rotation, big flip of the hand. So very, very timing orientated golf swing. So this is where my student would be saying, okay, I just need to work on clearing the hips. That's what his self-diagnosis was. But when you dive into it more, there's a very good reason why he wasn't clearing the hips, why he was early extending, having all these moves despite such a good top of the backswing position, because he had the most aggressive hip bump in starting that downswing. Now, why that is such a damaging thing to players, and especially was for my student, is because if you have an excessive movement pattern happening in the downswing, other movements that we know, okay, there's a vertical force, there's a rotational torquing movement, of course, lateral movement. If one of those is excessive, the others are going to be nullified. So if you have quite an excessive amount of hip slide, which is lateral movement, your rotation is not going to want to happen. Because if you rotate with this excessive hip bump, you're going to hit a terrible golf shot. Why that is because when you slide those hips, your tilt levels out, and then from there what we see, the upper body tilts backwards to stay on that golf ball. If you rotate from there, your low point's going to get so incredibly behind the golf ball. That's where we would normally see players who have that movement stand up to raise the club back out the ground again. So that's where excessive movements will nullify others. So for us, clearing the hips would have been something that would have been impossible. Absolutely impossible with that movement pattern we still had in our golf swing. So what we want to do, we do want to shift, absolutely. It's a key movement pattern is getting your weight shifting laterally. But bumping it is just going to be an absolute disaster. So what we were doing, we wanted to make sure, okay, we're still shifting our pressure onto our lead side, but we want to be doing that while simultaneously trying to open up those hips. So from there, we're still going to get plenty of shift to where we can get our low point forward, but now we're not having excessive movement, so we can continue to turn and rotate through the shot and have an easier time staying in posture and having good movements going through impacts, far less timing orientated, which is why we always talk about rotation on this channel. So the drill, perfect drill for my student here. So where it is, here it is. The wind must have blown it over earlier, and that is the drill of a wedge. So what we do with the wedge, we wedge it underneath our trail heel. So we'll show you from the front on here. Because what we do with this, we have, if I can actually put it underneath, there we go. We have this wedge with the shaft just behind our left calf here. Now, our whole goal is to get yourself to touch this shaft with your lead leg as fast as you can in that downswing. So that is going to stop you from having any excessive lateral movement. So from the down the line angle, you can see if I slide, there is no way I'm going to hit this with my left leg. But if I nicely get that left leg going back straight away, it's opening up my hips and it's stopping me from excessively shifting towards target. But I can still get my pressure because my intent is in that left side. My pressure is going to be moving into it. So I'm going to be moving that low point forward with a decent amount of shift, but opening up my hips at the same time. Really good little drill. So as we're going to see here, when I hit one, you're going to see the sequencing of my downswing with my shifting and rotational movement. It's going to be very, very good. So let's have a look. So we could see there, really good opening up of those hips. But let's see another video there, and let's see it from the front on angle. So we know it looked good from the down line, but is it calming down that excessive slide? Well, let's see with this one here. Here we go. So as we can see, absolutely. I'm still shifting, still absolutely shifting, but it's not excessive to where it's nullifying any other movement patterns. This is a very good thing to think about with your golf swing as well, whether you are sliding, bumping the hips too much, or whether you're doing something else. Remember, 3 movement patterns in a downswing. We've got our lateral move, we've got our rotational move, we've got our vertical move. This is all how we interact with the ground. If one gets excessive, another is going to be nullified. So if you're not doing a specific movement pattern that you want in a downswing, could be any of those, look at your other 2. See whether, are you standing up too much? Are you over-rotating too much too early? We can see that's a good way to have a look and then diagnose your problems in your own golf swing also. So, absolutely, bumping the hips. We don't want to be doing that unless we have a very timing orientated golf swing. Can you do it? Yes, you can do it. You just have to have a lot of practice to time up this move going through the golf ball. So that's where players back in the day absolutely had that golf swing. They did. So the golf swing I say for golfers not to do. So many players in history have had that type of golf swing, very timing orientated. But they all do, those best players in the world, something that pretty much everyone here does not have the time to do, and that is putting in an insane amount of time practicing. The more timing orientated your golf swing, the more repetitions you have to put in to be able to perfect it. So that's why when you have a golf swing that is less timing orientated, you barely have to practice at all. So I had a timing orientated golf swing in my playing career. I was very inconsistent in my playing career, very, very inconsistent. But as soon as I built more of a less timing orientated golf swing, more built on having good rotational move, more freer movement in the downswing, better control of this club face, I barely practice at all and I shoot tremendously better and far, far, far more consistent, as you could see through my playing videos that I have here on my channel. So, absolutely guys. Can you play good with a hip bump? Sure. Do you have the time to really do it? No, not really. So, make sure you have an efficient swing. Work on that key areas, work on that drill. That's brilliant if you want to rotate more also, and you'll be playing better. So if you like this video, click that like button if you want more golf instruction, just like this. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video. So make sure you're not excessively or trying to bump those hips crazy. Don't be silly. You'll be playing better golf.